This is a mysterious story that happened at the beginning of 2021 and instantly spread throughout the world. A lonely man entered his apartment and disappeared. No one else entered his home. The man could not be found for more than a month. But what happened then shocked the whole world. In this video, we will tell you how a person can disappear in his own home and surprise everyone after a long time. We're talking about 50-year-old Christopher Woitel from San Francisco. The man was involved in programming, but had been unemployed for the last few years. Due to the loss of a stable source of income, he became depressed and began to behave frankly strangely. Woitel's relatives said he had lived in constant fear for the last month. The man was afraid that political protests, which at that time were organized by supporters of Donald Trump, could unfold near his home, which could cause him to suffer. He even talked about going to live in the mountains for a few months. Woitel also wrote strange posts on Facebook and asked his family for money for a new phone, since he had lost his old one. On January 9th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he sent his niece a strange message. "Please tell Laurie to check her messages. It's urgent." After that, Laura, Christopher's sister, tried to call him, but the man did not answer the phone. Over the past months, she had already become accustomed to her brother's strange behavior, but this message greatly disturbed her. What added even more anxiety was that on January 8th, her brother sent her several disturbing messages at once. In one of them, he stated that he heard explosions outside his apartment. In another, he wrote that cars drove past his house with loudspeakers calling on Trump supporters to go out into the street. The sister and other relatives waited for several days in the hope that Christopher would get in touch. None of them could go to his home, since relatives lived in other cities. But he still did not answer calls, and on January 11 the relatives decided to contact the police. However, local police were not eager to look for Christopher. According to them, there was nothing to indicate that the man might be in danger. Desperate to wait for help from the police, the relatives decided to hire a private detective, Scott Williams. They also came to San Francisco to take part in the search. The detective first went to Christopher's apartment. The door was locked from the inside. There were no signs of a struggle, no missing things. It looked as if the man had simply left the house. But why then is the door locked from the inside? Next, the detective examined recordings from surveillance cameras installed in Christopher's house. And here things got even stranger. The recordings show how on the evening of January 8th, a man enters his apartment and never leaves it. Williams then admitted that Christopher could have used the emergency exit. The detective reviewed CCTV footage covering the area and saw no indication that the man may have left the residence. This confused everyone even more. Christopher came home. He didn't go out there, but he wasn't in the apartment. How is this possible? By that time, the police, under pressure from relatives, nevertheless took up this case and conducted their own investigation. They examined the apartment and could not understand what happened to Christopher. All this attracted wide public attention to the mysterious story of Woitel's disappearance. Police and a private investigator began to reconstruct Christopher's last days before his disappearance. They learned from relatives that Woitel was a very generous person and always helped those in need. He often allowed homeless people to spend the night in his apartment. One of these homeless people was a man nicknamed Bud. They met Christopher several years ago and have kept in touch ever since. Sometimes Christopher let him into his apartment to spend the night and also periodically helped him with money. He even gave him a smartphone and paid for mobile communications. On the evening of January 7, less than 2 days before Woitel disappeared, Bud came to his home, as evidenced by camera footage. The next day at 5 hours and 45 minutes in the morning, Bud left the house. He hasn't returned since then, according to records. The night before he disappeared, Christopher wrote an angry message to Bud on Facebook. Police determined that Bud had somehow gained access to Christopher's social media account and sent messages to his acquaintances, the rest of which was not disclosed. This enraged Woitel, and he wrote to Bud that he would no longer help him. He demanded that she never come to him again. Private Detective Williams found Bud and questioned him. First, he established that Bud had obtained Woitel's smartphone. The homeless man himself said that he bought it from Christopher for $100. But relatives of the missing man question this statement. They believe that Bud simply stole the phone during a visit to Whittle on January 7th. When the detective asked Booth what happened to Christopher, the story became even more interesting. Bud stated that he had strong psychic abilities, and he received an introduction. According to a homeless man, Christopher became a victim of robbers who wanted to steal his computer equipment. They allegedly took his body from the house and threw it into the ocean. Of course, the detective took Bud's words as complete nonsense. It is still unclear whether the homeless man has any problems in his head, or whether he made up these things for the sake of cover. But the detective said Bud was unlikely to be involved in Whittle's disappearance. The thing is that Bud suffered for a long time from a serious leg injury and could barely walk. This meant that he could not drag Whittle's body on his own even if he wanted to. Remember this moment and the problematic leg. Williams was stumped again. Not only did Whittle, by all indications, not leave the apartment, but the detective did not have a single suspect who could be involved in the case. He also questioned the version of Christopher's escape. Since the moment of his disappearance, there have been no transactions on his bank accounts, and Whittle has been in touch with his relatives literally every day, and is unlikely to have stopped doing so voluntarily. Hargan Nelson, Christopher's neighbor, adhered to the escape version. He knew the man well. After all, Whittle once literally saved his life. One day, Nelson's kidneys began to fail. The attack was so severe that he could not reach the phone and call an ambulance. Whittle heard his screams, called paramedics, and helped take him to the car. He even went with him to the hospital and stayed in the ward to support his neighbor. Nelson shared an interesting observation with the private detective. He often noticed two strange men coming to Christopher's apartment. By their appearance, the neighbor assumed that they were connected with the criminal world. Nelson couldn't imagine Whittle being friends with that kind of person. According to his version, these people could, for some reason, threaten Christopher, and he decided to lie low. Unfortunately, he was wrong. On February 16, information appeared that the police had found the body of Christopher Whittle, and on the 18th, law enforcement agencies officially confirmed this information. And now here's what makes this story incredibly strange. His body was found in his own apartment. How is this possible? Let us remind you that Christopher disappeared on January 9, and his body was found on February 16. Before the day the body was discovered, the police and a private detective searched the apartment several times, but Whittle could not be found there. Where was he all this time? According to the police statement, they found the man's body in the ceiling above his bathroom. The building is designed in such a way that above the apartments on the upper floor there is an empty space about 1 meter high, which is used for technical purposes and communication between the roof and the apartments. Apparently neither the police nor the detective thought to look there. The weirdness doesn't end there. In their statement, the police mentioned that they had to call firefighters to the scene. They themselves could not reach the man's body, and they had to cut a hole in the ceiling. This puzzled the investigation even more. How did Whittle get there? Obviously he couldn't do it through the apartment. The police's only theory was that the man entered the space through the roof. Of course, everyone had the main question: what happened to him? Did someone deal with him and hide his body? Police said they found no injuries or signs that Christopher was the victim of an attack. This means that the death was either voluntary or caused by natural causes. Users of social networks organized an analysis of this mysterious situation. According to the most popular version on the forum, Christopher died of a heart attack. In recent years, his psyche has suffered noticeably. This was especially noticeable in his latest messages on social networks and conversations with relatives. Whittle was in constant fear for no reason. He saw danger everywhere. Such strong and prolonged stress at his age could have a negative impact on the heart, and he did not survive another panic attack. But how does all this explain the fact that Whittle ended up in the technical space above his bathroom? Perhaps, before its disappearance, the panic state reached its peak. Christopher may have felt that he was in immediate danger here and now. He could leave the apartment and go to the roof. From there, climb into the space above your bathroom. If you adhere to this theory, it was there that he suffered a heart attack. If we still consider the version that someone could attack Whittle, Here we are faced with one problem. After him, no one came to his apartment, which is confirmed by camera footage. The most obvious suspect in this case would be Bud, and as we remember, the man was walking because of problems with his leg. Most likely, he would not be physically able to drag Voitel's body and hide it. The police and Christopher's relatives have not yet revealed the cause of his death, despite the fact that pathologists should have installed it in the first days after the discovery of the body. This further inclines us to believe that the death could have occurred due to natural causes, and the relatives decided not to make this information public. In any case, the mysterious story of Christopher Voitel has attracted the attention of people around the world, and his memory will now be kept by thousands of caring people around the world.